South Korea 2 weeks ago. The Chinese have agreed to schedule 13 key precursors. So for the first time, if they can cut back on that being shipped to Mexico, that will certainly have an impact on the manufacturing of fentanyl inside of Mexico. And Mexican authorities are doing more today than they ever have, and we're working closer with Mexican authorities than we ever have, that I can recall, perhaps ever for certain, in stopping this flow. So we have a strong cooperation with Mexico, with El Salvador, with Ecuador, with Guatemala, with multiple countries in the hemisphere that are helping us on land stop these flows from getting here. That's the difference between them and the drug boats. With the drug boats, we have no cooperation. On the contrary, the Venezuelan regime has long facilitated the use of Venezuelan territory as a transshipment point for drugs.
Secretary, you met with your Indian counterpart here as well. India has declared that the explosion in Delhi on Monday was a terrorist incident. How concerned are you about rising tensions between India and Pakistan, given the antecedent of the tension and the fighting?
Yeah, I mean, we're aware. We're aware of the potential that holds. But I think the Indians need to be commended. They've been very measured and cautious and very professional in how they're carrying out this investigation. That investigation continues. It clearly was a terrorist attack, and it was a car loaded with highly explosive materials that detonated and killed a lot of people. But I think they're doing a very good job of carrying out an investigation, and I think when they have facts, they'll release those facts. So, but clearly, I mean, we're aware of the potential that it has, and so we spoke about that a little bit today, the potential that it has to become something broader. But I think we're going to await to see what their investigation reveals. We've offered to help, but I think they're very capable in these investigations. They don't need our help, and they're doing a good job. And I thought they were very measured and professional in how they've approached it, as they usually are.
You mentioned China and fentanyl. This working group that the Treasury Secretary has talked about setting up, measuring China's progress on cracking down on fentanyl flows. Is there a timeline for when that will be established? Do you know?
I don't know. You'll have to ask the. I mean, since it's part of the trade agreement, it will largely involve Treasury and probably elements of law enforcement as well. But you know, the FBI director traveled to China a few days ago, had very positive meetings, and from everything we've seen and heard so far, it appears that Chinese have a real interest in scheduling these substances. These precursor chemicals have legitimate uses, but when you combine them all together, they create fentanyl, which is not legitimate. And so everything we've seen from them is that they're serious about doing it, and in return, you know, the president cut in half the fentanyl tariffs. So we expect both sides to comply with their end of the bargain, and so far everything we've seen indicates that they intend to.
On the Middle East, can you talk about
the stabilization force? Is there any further progress on the?
We have a new draft, I think, that's being worked on now. We feel optimistic that it's going to happen. It needs to be done the right way, and obviously there's a lot of different countries. You have to balance their interests here.